I've already made my mind up about that Russell Brand case from when the evidence came to the television. And if you want to go back through my videos ages ago, I made a video before, because I made a video before the big documentary that was damning him was put out, and then I made one straight after. Before, it's like, this doesn't look good for this guy. If what these people are saying in the preview to the documentary is all true, it's like, this guy might be in trouble. Watch the documentary, and it's like, these people haven't got anything on Russell Brand. He could be said to be guilty of being a terrible boyfriend and a bit of a cad, and possibly you might say that he's a bastard. Well, he is. You know, he's one of them. He's from a broken home. He's a former heroin addict. He was on television, given his big break by Channel 4 as being, okay, we'll give you the job if you can get off the heroin. Now, you understand the sort of standards in them days that fucking celebrities were held to. Non-existent. None. Nothing. And as the guy that he posted himself as he was this sort of, he basically looked like a goth with a beard. Never cracked on that he was like trans but he was like this not an asexual, sort of bisexual animal in his act. He was wearing black eyeliner and things like that. And he was, as a comedian, just really extremely cheeky and shocking in what he'd have to say. So it's like Channel 4 thought this guy was brilliant. They put him on everything. They were like, oh, this guy's brilliant. And he'd been caught wrong before, where in the first instance they'd basically given him a gig to in the future be able to take him out if they couldn't control him. They thought he'd be easy to control because he was already a smackhead. Which is a trick of the entertainment industry, isn't it? The two seem to go hand in hand, as far as I'm concerned. It's like, oh, the guy's we found a new comedian, a talent. Is the guy a smackhead? Yes. Well, if he's a smackhead, we are definitely interested in him. Oh yeah, we'll take a smackhead. Because they're easy to placate, aren't they? Just give them money so they can get the drugs and they'll get on with the job. Let that be what drives them. They'll fucking turn up. They'll perform. Guy's a psycho. Get him to perform. That's who he was. Completely 100% groomed himself. Groomed for this job never a real job. He was always just too mentally ill. And then goes wallop straight into high wages entertainment. It's like, you created this guy, and compared to some that have been in that way created, he's actually done quite well, because what always underpinned his act was probably a very high IQ. You can pick it up as young as he was, how articulate he could be. He was very good. He was a natural performer. He was one of these people who would certainly a similar background to myself. That's the thing. Me and Russell Brand are the same age. Similar background to myself. He'd have been the one at the school who was entered for the poetry competition, the poetry recital. You know, I don't want to do this. And it's like, what do I get if I win? Well, you get a certificate. I don't want to do it. Is there any money? No, but you're going to have to do it. You should be proud you're representing the school. It's like, but it just means that I have to turn up on a Saturday morning, some place, and read this bloody poem you've had me read all week. Stocking and shirt can trip and prance, but nobody's in them to make them dance. Fucking poems. He's one of them. He's been trained in that and pushed forward for that. It's like my primary, it's a funny one that, what I was excellent at, in my academics up to being 14 was drama. I got an A every fucking term. Drama. Usually playing heavies. And I just got to 14 and the school teacher went, nah, not having him, Doug. What? Nah, you're not welcome. Out. I'm like, what? Basically, teacher correctly weighed up that I was a talent that he could not control. And it's like, out. You're like, this guy's been like the top sort of amateur dramatics performer at every school he's been in. And then he gets to the big school and you say, you out. You're not in this class. We're going to get it swapped out for something else. Do cookery instead. Well, you've got a choice here. You can do, but you're not doing that. Teacher, no, you're not allowed. And actually, my drama teacher at school instructed me to go and see the headmaster and tell him you don't want to be in my class, please. And I go to the headmaster and say, this teacher said he doesn't want me in his class and I'm to come and ask you to put me in something else. He kicked me out of it. I just booted. Nah, you're not allowed. No, we're not having you. You're like, what? It's like, have you not seen my reports from the previous school as to where it's like, this guy's the star of the show at every fucking Christmas concert and play. He's our guy. He's our year's talent where it comes to acting and comedy acting. And they just went, off you go. Sing too. Not much of a dancer. Can sing too though. Or could sing too. A couple of broken noses do for you. And probably 1,000 years of smoking will do for your singing voice in the end. And if you don't use it, it will just diminish. So it's like a muscle. If you don't sing, you're never going to be good at singing. You can just you can just make yourself good at singing though by just singing a lot. There's no way past practice. Anyone who's any good at it are that because they sang a lot and practiced a lot. And there are those who seem to think that they can do the job without practicing these days. Just be naturally good. No, you can't. You got to practice. The best singers historically came from the church, didn't they? All of the good ones. That's where they went to practice. But yeah, Brand is of that generation. He is, in essence, his school's version of my good self. So, there's things about Brand where I put as to where my thing is about him. Probably if it wasn't for his encouragement, I wouldn't be someone who made YouTube videos. So I don't mind him. I didn't mind him. I thought that was to get feedback from someone who at the time was on his way into. I'd sort of been to America and been in a few movies and come back, and you find out he's watching your videos and he makes friends with you on Facebook. What feedback is that? What encouragement is that? It's like, great, thank you. In the modern day, you'd screenshot that, wouldn't you? Back in the day, you didn't do things like that. You just took it on board. It's just word, isn't it? Nowadays, everyone wants to see the screenshots of the conversations, and they're like, "Oh, so you do things like that? You actually record?" No, it's just never occurred to me. So if you want to get away up of that, right? This is the thing with the way they're talking about Brand and his behaviour comes under the new laws that were supposedly to curb domestic violence called coercive control. Right? The coercive control laws are very anti-law laws. because the old law, the old law of the land doesn't actually cover for it. Hence the rise in the pimp game, as to where it's almost a perfect game because you're above the law with it. You get other people to do your misdeeds. They go to jail. In essence, the core of gangsterism, of organised crime, is the pimp able to build camaraderie amongst men and also enslave women and get other people to do their dirty work for them, so they never have to ever appear in court. Their job got done. You stand there, you plead guilty, you take your rap, you go to jail, you say fuck all. And you'll be promised to be rewarded when you return from jail. That's the way that organised crime operates. That's why it's difficult to get rid of. And that's also why there's never a shortage of people who like to impress the bosses, that they'd be good gangster fodder as well. Don't we know those kids, eh? So coercive control laws been brought in, and it's a matter of... Actually, Tate made this case, although the fucking hell, he's just a flat-out rapist, pimp, co-conspirator. He just fits. I wouldn't be surprised. We'll never find out where the bodies are buried, but I'm pretty certain that he's done a murder or two, or he's been around that sort of activity as well. But we can't prove that. But we have to understand. All of us people who are on the Tate watchers of old, I don't actually watch the guy's podcasts anymore and stuff like that. Got enough of him right at the start. Guy changes with the fucking wind, but always stays the same. Doesn't seem to ever improve or get smarter. Just gets inspired to think up something else more cunning, which is the nature of his genius, you know that. When he says, you know, I'm this and that, it's like his audacity. It's not where he talks about indefatigable. No, it's audacity he's got going on, and once he's got the idea fixed in his head, it then becomes something that's as its own voice, let's say. As to whatever's in there comes out. It'd be an art form or a skill that I'm adept in as well. The Tate's guy, he can run his mouth. He can run his mouth and make a case, but it's a matter of to know the truth and tell the lie. He's masterful at that. Tate is very good at bullshit. It's like when he puts us to say, look, I'm the top this, I'm the top that. It's like, yeah, you are a fucking illusionist. You are a magician. It's like, you're probably the best one who's come along so far. He's been so brazen about their sadism. Not to be taken lightly, but a liar. And once you understand the man is a liar, it's a matter of how many other lies have you told? And they'd be like, you're going to be here a while. You're going to be here a while. What the world's been able to expose about Tate is that Tate is a very, very dangerous mouth and a compulsive liar. You can't put Russell Brand in anything like the same category as an Andrew Tate. But there are those who will try, right? And they'll be talking, what the case against Tate is kind of one of coercion, right? So the coercion is, he's famous off the television. Coercion. It's like, have you not, ladies, right, have you never heard tell in the past of young girls and women falling in and becoming the girlfriends of celebrities and it going either well or badly for them? Oh, no, I imagined that this was love. So when you start to apply that coercive control thing to a celebrity, where comes to a stage where his name is his passport, his his notoriety and his fame go before him. Certainly something be true of Russell Brand. He wasn't some guy on the internet who hardly anyone's heard of. He was a guy who was broadcast on terrestrial television when most people, but everyone, there was no internet. And you had terrestrial TV or satellite TV or cable TV. He was a big celebrity in the UK, and has always been a tabloid darling. They've always been reporting on a thing or two, and it more to put him to shame for his behaviour as much as anything else. When he's been caught wrong, a bit drunk, been in scenes, pushed radio to the comedy limit. When him and Jonathan Ross were leaving. Live on the radio, we're leaving messages on Andrew Sachs, who used to play Manuel in Fawlty Towers. We're leaving messages on his answering machine. And I was actually, that night, I was listening to that. I was driving somewhere. And it was so funny that there were times when it was like the driving was a fucking problem. You know, just bombing up a motorway was a problem. It's like, I'm going to fuck up here and die. I'm laughing that much at this. It's like I'm going to miss my fucking egg. Because the doubling down element of, oh no, what we've just said, he might take it the wrong way. We need to ring him up again, don't we? And apologise for the message that we just left. Yeah, we do. Bang. Then improvises a fucking song. Sorry about all the attacks, Andrew Sachs. And then breaks into the song as to say, you know, I've had sex with you. I've had sex with your daughter. It was consensual and she wasn't menstrual. And they wanted to kill him for that. They wanted him dead. And it was like, people after the clips of it in the media, and it's like, as something that was just on the Radio 2, as you're driving over the motorway, it was just so ill. It was incredibly funny. It was just so silly. And it's like, I like comedy. I like silly comedy. Me, it's like if you're going to do comedy, do silly comedy. And it was beautifully silly. It was priceless. It was one of the best things I'd ever heard on the radio for it just being downright funny. It was a bit off, and they were having a joke at somebody else's expense, right? They were having a joke at the expense of Andrew Sachs, who suddenly, because he'd been in Fawlty Towers, the media had decided that he was a fucking, like, a member of the royal family, and you can't go up against him. He was Manuel in Fawlty Towers. We love him. You can't have a joke at his expense. Nobody actually ever gave a fuck about what Andrew Sachs thought about it. Andrew Sachs might have found it really funny and actually enjoyed the fact that he was being, like, remembered. But at the same time, it started, right, with he was due to be on the show and hadn't turned up. So they started ringing him. So it was like, oh, we're missing somebody here, but we'll kind of make him a guest in the show by ringing him up and leaving messages on his answering machine. And it was just so funny. It was like, we've got a lot of time to fill in here, so let's fill it in, shall we? Let's have a bit of a laugh. So they hated him for that, got him off Radio 2. He was the most listened to radio DJ in the country for a while, Russell Brand, for that slot. No one's listening to the radio at 7 o'clock on a Saturday night. The only people who were listening to the radio at that time are people who've got a long haul on the way home from a football match, driving, or else they drive for a living. That's them are the people who were listening to Radio 2 at that time and out on Saturday. And then suddenly he goes on it, and it's so funny that it actually becomes the thing to do. What be on the radio at this moment in time be better than watching fucking Noel Edmonds' House Pie or something like that, or The Generation Game? Put the radio on. This is funny. So it's like, oh, they had a success on their hands, the BBC, and they don't like that. They don't like that. It's like, gone with you. Fucking no, we're not having this. The BBC gets frightened, you know, of talent, and they were frightened of him. And when they signed him up, they knew he were a fucking loose cannon, and that's why they signed him up. They wanted him to be fun. They wanted him to be off the cuff. They wanted him to just nail down that audience on a Saturday night, and he did. And as soon as he did it for him, they did everything they could to fucking get rid of him, frightened of how powerful he'd become. BBC are fucking weird with how they handle talent and DJ talent. It's rare, or was, because it's hard to get discovered, isn't it, as a good chat guy. But they are influential DJs, or they used to be. Silencing them in this day and age, impossible. Back then, just take the radio show off them. Hey! Sorry about this, guys. This is Chihuahua, you know. Mile. Come in. He can sit with his dad. Well, I'm not his dad, actually. Hilty's his dad. I'm his, I don't know what man. I'm kind of I'm his old age sort of mind to this dog, aren't I? I'm the hospice worker or something. He's an old boy. Sorry about this dog intervention. He's a good fella. It's like Chihuahuas, man. You know that a lot of them are right bastards. It's like Ian. He likes everybody. And he's also good with other dogs too. So it's like, you do get the odd outburst from him. More these days. He's getting a bit old. I think his hearing's not the best, or it's going. So once upon a time he was chilled, now he's thinking he's hearing things. Aren't you? Sorry about this. Right, dog aside. See, I'm thrown off. He's fucking murder when he starts. I'm thrown off now. So I say, BBC have got this talent that they can't control. We can't control him. It's like, he's funny. We can't have people really enjoying themselves. We can't have it where it's like, oh God, this guy in this moment is so funny that he's actually making broadcasting history and everyone should be listening to this. Well, by the time the tabloids got hold of it on Monday, everybody was listening to it. Early days of the internet, here a little snippet, a recording, and all the whole context, the whole setup of the joke, completely gone. Because it was like a joke that went on for half an hour. And if you just cut it into a couple of moments, it can just seem like anything you want it to seem like. So it's like, witch hunts for this guy, right, have been going on a long time for Brand. And they'd be about, he's a good communicator. He's a better communicator than any of our fucking politicians. And he's actually smarter than them all. He fucking frightened the life out of them a few times. Where I remember once, I think you can probably find it on YouTube, where he gave a speech or a talk to a select committee in Parliament, where he's talking about sort of the wider implications of the drug war or drug policy in this country, and he fucking wiped the floor with them. Got right to the pulse of it, understood the ins and outs, understood all the connections, all the man, because he was from that. He was talking about what he knew. He frightened them to death with how articulate he were and how good he was at communicating and making his case, and that's why he's dangerous. Tate's dangerous. He's persuasive, isn't he? But he's on the fucking wrong side of everything. He put himself on the right side, but you know he's on the wrong side of everything. He is a manipulator, a bad guy, but it's a matter of, I think Brand is a manipulative good guy. And much like I'm a kind of a manipulative good guy. Because if you want to start talking coercion, about I'm making a case to you as to say Brand's actually being stiffed because he's from that celebrity world. They've always had the eyes on him. I always like to ask the question, how did you get into so much trouble in the first place, right? When people end up with celebrities. Certainly old-time celebrities, that generation of celebrity, it'd be a matter of, oh, well, I thought I knew him off the television, and he was nothing like the person I imagined he was based on the television, therefore. Right, it's like, how have you got into the clutches of Russell Brand? Oh, well, I was straight out of university and I wanted a career in television, so I went and worked as an intern at Channel 4. It's like when Mr. Brand took an interest in you. Were you, oh, I was very flattered, yeah. Well, the next thing you know, it's like she's throwing herself at him. And this be a matter of him not being someone who matches up to this imaginary person. Because I've never spoken to Russell Brand. To me, he's an imaginary person. He's a public figure. And it'd be a matter of he has he's been someone who's been able to approach women and they'd be like, put the question to them. Most of the time, men get picked. He's a man who got to pick. So he picked out a few fucking wrong uns. He picked out a few wrong ones, and the public persona that guy put out at the time was that it was almost his act that he'd screw anything that moved. It was his act. It was the persona he put out into the world that he was someone who'd screw anything that moved. That was what he put out. That was his spiel. So he's someone who puts it out into the world as to fuck anything that moves, given opportunity. And everyone laughs in the audience. And when it turns out to be true, 10 years after the fact, we're supposed to be outraged. He was famous. He used it as leverage. It's like, you can't not do. It's who you are. It's not like you can say, hello, I'm Russell Brand. I'm just going to leave famous on the table here and let's just be equals. Of course there's a fucking power dynamic. There's a power dynamic in every social situation you'll ever come across in your life. There's a power dynamic. And then just selectively applying it as to say this is no, it's like Brand is being stiffed, right? And he's being stiffed at a time when it's fashionable to go after these, like Me Too. It's like Brand is not someone who's beaten or, basically he's one of them's complaining that he tried to force a bit of throat sex on her. Which is not something I go for. It strikes me as being a bit unfriendly, if you ask me. But, people having the boundaries pushed in the act of sex with fucking strangers. Isn't that why you turned up? Didn't you turn up to just a normal person? I'm not going to say a nobody because that's the wrong thing to say. A normal person, right? Because to meet a celebrity, aren't you there for the sport fucking? And it's Russell Brand. Aren't you there for the sport fucking? Isn't that why you came? Isn't that what happened? All perfectly consensual, and then years later you put a different frame on it. Times change, and then suddenly I was coerced into that because he was famous. And he not be a man without charm. He not be someone who needs to, in any situation, need to be desperate or go out on a limb to get the attention of women. Women would find themselves, if they fancied a bit of Russell, in competition with a load of other women who wanted a bit of Russell as well. So it's like women were not were very forthcoming where it came to providing Russell with sex. They were fucking lining up. So it's like years later when these posh girls, who surprising number of them all remain working in the television industry, suddenly everyone's listening to them. And they'd be like, right, it could be said that Russell Brand, right, is a philanderer, or was a philanderer. He hasn't been a philanderer for years, as far as I know. It's a drug. Once you're off it, you stay off it. I'm telling you. You do. Being a philanderer is the trouble it brings to your life, like this that's going on now. It's like it ain't worth the trouble. It really isn't worth the trouble because it's serious trouble. It's life-destroying trouble. He's being judged by a standard that didn't exist when he was doing what he was doing. And be a young man and be a celebrity. He can be guilty of being a philanderer, a bastard, a cad, a bounder, emotionally manipulative person, someone who comes out with some right shit. Yeah, he can be all of them. But how many others are the same? And we wouldn't go around calling them would-be predators, rapists. We wouldn't be calling them that because they don't have notoriety or power. They don't have that. But, you know, you can be famous for more than one thing. You can be famous in Rochdale and people know who you are, and step outside Rochdale and no one has a fucking idea who you are or what you're about or what you're capable of or what you've ever achieved. There are many big shots in the world. I can show you a world where young women be absolutely desperate to have someone famous put the dick in them. Be desperate for it. And it'd be something. Ooh. It was never spoken to him since. Overheard a conversation between a guy who used to go in the pub with. I've never been a friend of his, but he used to go in the pub, and I'd say that he was all right, you know. And I heard a retelling to him and his wife by his daughter to say that she had on a night out trapped off with Paddy McGuinness, a comedian, a television presenter. To me, a bit of a lame brain. And they're like, me and him had sex with Paddy McGuinness. She's like 18. And mum and dad's laws, hey, get your claws in there. Like, Paddy McGuinness is a fucking married man. And television person. And she's thrown herself at him and he's had a go at that. And they're like, oh, so proud of you. And that'd be the way they think. That'd be the parents of, oh, this is the way. It's like, oh, see if you can get pregnant. Then they'd be like that, and they'd be like, oh, and they think themselves as something as people as well. They think themselves as better than us. You know, they'd be working class, as they used to call them, like a working class Tory sort. Oh, that's what we want. Those are the circles we aspire to move in. So it's like world-ending narcissism. They'd be proud. You think in the future there might be a lot of women come together in like 5 years' time and say, Paddy McGuinness shagged me. What? Imagine what one day they'll... Oh, God. You think of people in our history of our culture, right? Now, there are those who'll tell you, right, when he's had a few pints back in the 80s, that Brian Robson was like the shag. You're like, what? Yep, he's got the wife at home and the nice house and the kids, and she's happy with the situation as far as we understand because he's a well-known fucking shagger. She's happy to have the kids, happy to have, and he goes out and does his own thing. Everybody knew it. Everyone knew that Brian Robson was like an on-the-prowl, active shag. It's like if you like the look of you and you played the right game, you know, you might be getting a bit of him. Footballers, fucking guys, young guys, access to loads of women throwing it at them. There's been loads of trouble, hasn't there, with Man City's players being kids, foreign guys. A guy lost his career over getting stitched up by the groupies in Manchester. Guy played for City, that Mendy. He hadn't raped no one. He hadn't raped nobody. Massive case against him. He's a wrong, and they badged that together with that fucking sick cunt who was played for City, who went to Sunderland, who was like 16, 15-year-old girls meeting up with him. I mean, that's, you're like, bang, jail. What that Mendy did, where they tried to Me Too him. Basically, a load of party girls from Manchester who brag about fucking these players at City. See all the stuff that came out in court case as to they were one of the defendants, one of the actual accusers, the accusers in the case. In evidence, it came up a text message between two of the accusers. Bragging, cracking on, big smiley emojis. I shagged Jack Grealish. It's like these City players had been banging these party girls, and then suddenly they decided they were going to fucking have one away. That guy used to play for City, what were he called? Centre forward, who ended up in prison for a fucking long time, and it's like, he campaigned to get out. Ched Evans, weren't it? Ched Evans. He campaigned on the internet by just putting all the details of the case out as the court heard it, and having enough people just read it all. Hi. First of all, why has he gone down and why hasn't his mate? Because they wanted to make an example of him because he was a professional footballer. And it be, why is absolutely no attention in this case being put towards who this person was who they brought up to the room, who they had sex with, who one of them had found in a bar, and they came back and it's like, would you like to have some sex? Yeah, I'd like to have some sex. And then the judge put it to the jury that if you're drunk you can't consent. And they asked the jury just to make a deliberation as to whether or not they thought she was drunk based on her version of events of what she'd had to drink. Right? And he went down for that. And they were able to build up a movement to get it, because his appeal was knocked back as well. He was able to get an appeal and then eventually clear his name. And he easily got off as well, because in the first case they wouldn't let information about the person who accused him. They wouldn't allow it as evidence, where in the appeal they did. And he was her third victim. She'd done that 3 times. She'd found herself someone with money and a bit of status actually looking for someone who would like some sex. That's the thing, that we have to pretend that doesn't exist. We have to pretend there's no such thing as like lounge lizards. We have to pretend there's not women sat around at the end of the night looking for someone to prey upon. We have to pretend that don't exist. And she got away with playing that game twice, being the last person in the club, going off with strangers to have sex, and then immediately calling the cops, making way for a civil case. Same person had been, it's the 3rd time she'd done it. They weren't allowed to tell the jury that at his original trial. What was she called? She was had Starmer's job. What was she called? Andrea something or other. She was actually pretty much in charge of the justice system in the country. They had a CPS. What was she called? Angela something. She was a radical feminist sort of man-hater who wanted high-profile rape cases. She wanted it. Saunders, she was called. Fucking pray that woman's gone, that she never reappears as being someone who's got power in our country. Ever. That she should never reappear. It's like they banged that guy up because he was the most famous of a couple of fucking lads who brought home a proper mess from the pub. They brought home a mess from the pub. And it's like, you're a mess. Oh. It's like this was not rape. And then the prosecution fighting it on the grounds of, well, it was rape because she didn't consent because she was too drunk to consent. She wasn't in her right mind, and that's rape. So that Ched Evans case was fucking crazy. It was like, okay, they've made it so. They've set the most dangerous legal precedent ever installed ever in British politics. That a woman, not a man, only a woman, cannot consent to sex if she is, by their standards, drunk. And their standards of drunk are the limits for being able to drive. So 2 pints and you're drunk. If you're over the legal driving limit, you're classed somehow in civil law as being drunk. So any occasion where 2 people have sex, if they made it so that if the woman, right, can come forward and say, well, I had 2 drinks, so it's rape. And the legal eagles go away and get the fucking paperwork from the last judgment. It says, you know what, you're right. You have been raped. Right, you can go. We had sex once when I was drunk. Therefore, yeah, they made that so because they based a prosecution on it. Crazy. And that stood. And for years, every story that were ever put out about it in the Guardian, he should have sued the Guardian, Ched Evans, like bad. They used to put convicted rapist Ched Evans, convicted rapist Ched Evans, convicted rapist Ched Evans, convicted rapist Ched Evans. It's like the flimsiest conviction in the history of British politics for the crime of rape, a super serious crime. It's like rape is something like you get in a taxi and the taxi driver locks the doors and drives you somewhere quiet and forces you to have sex with him, or leave you fucking marooned out in the middle of the countryside. Right? That's rape. Someone follows you and grabs you in the street and drags you anywhere, or actually, if anyone drags you anywhere and forces themselves upon you, like, that's rape. Rape. That's what them laws are designed for. The rape laws are not designed for you meet a guy and you willingly bring him home to your house having spent an evening with him, and you have sex with the guy. The rape laws are not made for that. No, it's not that. It's like, if you want to call that, it's like it's your word against his. So do you just want to really punish this guy? Because you're going to. Because the accusation of rape is on an innocent man it's the nearest thing you can do to destroying his faith and soul. Really is. A false accusation of rape is an incredibly damaging thing. It's getting used all the time as a weapon at every level of the fucking game. So it's like, oh, right, we've muddied the water now between, and then they came up with this thing called date rape. What's date rape? Well, you go out and you meet up and you have a few drinks and you go for a meal and then you go to a nightclub and you do a bit of dancing, and then he says, do you want to go back to my house or are you coming back to your house? Oh, we'll go back to your house. Date rape, they call it. And it's her word against his. It's like, well, laws are not designed for this. So to address this, they brought in this notion of coercion. Put a price on it, practically. Depending on how you want to spin it. Because there's loads of ways you can have true coercion, and then you can have not coercion at all. You could have it, you put yourself in a fucking tight spot with someone you thought you knew who bangs groupies all the time. You've got them at a disadvantage if you do. If you're shagging a celebrity because you're a groupie, because that's the sort of people, you should leave them to their own kind. So that's people. I say it to people, people who are fucking proper, just in that way, in that club, they think that way. They are shag orientated. I put it to them, it's like, stick to your own kind. If you're going to start playing big fucking games and you're going to start with dangerous, toxic shit, go and do it with dangerous, toxic people and see how fucking well you get on. Don't do it with respectable people. If you're a cannibal, go and cannibalise your own fucking kind. There's plenty of them. Get your ass on online dating and go and find all the animals. Don't mess with real people. Same actors, musicians. No, let them find bullshit relationships with other bullshit actors and musicians. Let them stick to their own fucking kind. Don't you be walking into that lion's den not really knowing who you're walking into the lion's den with, understanding that the kind of characteristics that makes one able to rise in the world in those spheres is a strong sense of fucking narcissism, and the way that they get treated by their bosses in the entertainment industry kind of brings it out in them, kind of makes them worse. So it's a matter of, you are a fucking idiot if you get yourself involved with a public figure like that. I look at this trouble where it's like that Styx Hexenhammer has found himself in so much trouble, putting his dick in crazy strangers. As to where he made himself a joke. He could have been seen at one stage as a serious commentator and also even a powerful influencer, but no, he's put his dick in idiots, and therefore he no longer has any power whatsoever. You do not travel halfway across the world to hook up with a fucking public figure because in your imagination you think you know them. You don't do it. Not for that reason. It would be different, if Elon Musk rang me and said, look, I'm sending a jet to come and pick you up. Is there an airport in Rochdale? It's like, well, fucking make one. Just land it right in the middle of the road. Fuck 'em. If he rang me up and said, I've got a business proposition for you, you'd fucking go, right? But if anyone else in the world come along and said, not credible, basically, or they came along and said, I want to fuck you, sir. You really? It's like anyone who can fall, anyone who would fall for that is absolutely weak, because just about anyone, pretty much just like almost 10% of the human female population can get away with it if you're that way fucking stupid and that way inclined. And we're talking about that kind of stupidity that's at the base of all of these cases. I think Tate's different. He's promised them fucking everything, right? To groom them. Promised them everything. Basically, promised them everything and then utterly betrayed them. Can't see Brand's done that. He just gets. He's just been a shagger and a party guy who's not married, who's not attached, who's done what other thousands of other celebrities have done in his situation. It doesn't make them rapists or predators. It makes them cads, bastards. It makes them fucking shags. It makes them male whores. Doesn't make them rapists. It does not make them rapists. Setting off on the right foot because you're famous and people think they know you already. Giving you a massive advantage over everyone else in competition for that crazy pussy. It's like some of them, it takes them a while to learn the lesson. It's like you got mental health problems and addiction slips. Do you think a problem might be you can't say no to these crazy women who turn up with sympathy and go, oh, I'm different from the rest of them? They want to fucking add you to the portfolio, dick, don't they? They're curious about you. It's like guys get used just the same as anyone else. I think there's a fair thing to say is people who've, if Russell Brand's accused of using people, I think he's been used just as much as they have. I think he's found himself as having sold himself short and turned himself into a fucking man whore, right? And you've turned yourself, you lowered yourself to being a fucking heroin addicted fucking man whore, right? You've actually legitimately reached rock bottom. And then when people who actually legitimately reach rock bottom, they really do tend to make something of themselves. Russell Brand is probably 15 years at post rock bottom. That cunt's learned a thing or two, as talented as he is. So it's to my mind, he's actually Andrew Tate with his Matrix attack shit. He's actually stealing what would be Russell Brand's legitimate defence of his actions. He is. Tate is pretending to be Russell Brand. It is Tate who's been able to let's say steal a legitimate story of what is that Russell Brand is not an innocent man, but he's not guilty of rape. He's not guilty of coercion. He's, in that respect, it's like he comes with coercion. He's a celebrity, a public figure. How do you want to define this? He could be said to have been a bad person, but rape? I don't think so. No. Prove it. And when I saw the evidence against him, I'm like, you're going to have trouble proving this, you know. You're going to need a very, very sympathetic judge and jury to be able to fucking mouth off like this in court. Open to cross-examination, your evidence you're giving us in blacked out, played by an actress, victim testimony. No, to cross-examined, you be in real trouble. It's like Brand's got a real interest in pleading not guilty, and let's have the whole fucking court. Because Brand is going to fucking win if it goes to court. It's obvious. And I'd actually thought, but they wouldn't want to be seen to be. They should have fucking let it go. If there was insufficient evidence to go after Jimmy Savile, there was certainly inefficient evidence to go after Brand as to doing the guy for rape charges and trying to put him down for 20 years. It's like, come on, son. It's like, if this be right, you know, we should go after Mick Jagger next. He's put his dick in fucking everything over the years, hasn't he? Go after Mick Jagger. You can, anytime they can go after Jimmy Page and Robert Plant out of Led Zeppelin, it's like the tales of them, and Bowie, they could have gone after Bowie at any stage in his career, but everyone loved him, so they let it go. They're like, we've just dismissed that. You see, it's only ever, people will only ever get done for that when it's convenient. One of the guys at the centre of silencing the fucking newspapers about salacious gossip about celebrities, because you know the newspapers now go after politicians. Well, not so much politicians now, but mostly would go after normal people or actually YouTube kind of celebrities, or former celebrities, if you like. Falling off the mainstream. They'll target them now because of what Steve Coogan managed to do in court when they put the News of the World out. Celebrities were able to hijack phone hacking against hacking the phone of a little girl who'd gone missing. And celebrities were able to hijack that case because they'd apparently had the voicemail hack too. These people had never set a voicemail password and didn't use voicemail, so there used to be treasure troves on the voicemail servers, and the newspapers sussed this out, so they started monitoring these phones, and say, celebrities like Hugh Grant, Steve Coogan, who were people who often had salacious stories about them in the world because they were fucking mad cokeheads and would fuck anything that moved. Right? They managed to get the news of the world shut down and almost a ban being put on the newspapers for buying kiss and tell stories about celebrities. So, who kiss and tell stories about the celebrities is no longer news. You don't see it anymore. So, from under that, fuck knows what any of them are getting up to because there's no longer a news of the world in the world to expose them. It no longer exists. What is that newspaper in Britain that exposes celebrity malfeasance and fucking abuse? Well, there isn't one because they're not allowed to do it now. They've been given special rights and protections. They've got the rights to a private life, even though, they're at large. So it's like if we were to just turn, for some reason, someone like Coogan, who I think he's politically a fucking baby, right? And intellectually, a baby too. But very talented and very funny man. And a local. So I kind of err on his side. Steve Coogan, in my mind, is one of those people. I like him, but I don't fucking agree with him. It's like, might one day he say something or get involved in something that's because he wouldn't. He's just Mr. Social Justice and climate change. But if he was to ever fall out of favour, would they start digging all the stories out about the people he's apparently treated very badly in the past? Would he? Would they? It's like, who do you want to go after next? Rod Stewart. He's fucked everything that's moved for years. I bet Mick Hucknall. I bet go after Mick Hucknall. You'll be able to probably get all kinds of stories from him. He is like one of the... Now, I don't know what he's up to now, but his old strategy of just basically spending the last 20 years just moving through his fans, fucking them all. We knew he is. And no one ever says fuck all about it. Nobody. It'd be staring you in the fucking face. There's one they never really got to the bottom of in the British establishment. When they sent Max Clifford to prison for being a perv. Do you realise how big his fucking networks were and what kind of relationships he had with the press and the television government? He was massive, Max Clifford. He was the biggest publicist in this country. And you'd know, when a story came up from nowhere, it'd be like, this story's been injected into the media to better suit someone's purposes. And they've just basically used Max Clifford as a way of barging in front of the cameras. And it's like, turns out he was a massive perv who blackmailed people, used loads of sexual fucking leverage, only potted people. He was someone who was, he himself in his way into training up whores to go and fuck people over. Nobody ever really jumped into that. Former clients of the guy, sleazy fucking pricks who were associated with him, none of them went down, did they? His PR company disappeared from the world, but I dare say it just migrated into the other PR companies. It was seen as being a glamorous firm at one time. It's like, to go after brand like that is to say, oh, we've targeted this guy and we are identifying him as being, right, effective and not ineffectual. He's actually someone who's capable of hurting our government brand. He can do it. He can run them down with his mouth. It's Starmer, if he was to find himself across the table from Russell Brand, would be in a great deal of fucking trouble. He would. He's intellectual. He knows too much. Too good with his mouth. They're afraid of that. And they've tried to cancel him and destroy him before, and it hasn't worked. But now it's a matter of, oh, we use the modern laws of what does and doesn't standards like coercive behaviour, and we apply them to historical situations, and we make a fictitious case in history. And we actually take the size of the man's celebrity off the table by, in essence, mitigating it as a factor by just flat out calling it a coercive force. It's like, oh, good luck starting with that. It's like, who are you going to selectively, from the world of entertainment and the like, who are you going to selectively prosecute with those laws? Everybody. It's like there's likely fucking dossiers laying in wait for people who could possibly even break through and become somebody that they want rid of. Oh, we've already got the file. It's like, do not make the mistake of mistaking Russell Brand for Andrew Tate, who's stolen Russell Brand's situation. He's stolen his world. Russell Brand actually lives in the world of Matrix Attack. Tate doesn't. He just says that he lives there because he's a fugitive. It's like, to start putting the two together and thinking, yeah, on side together, nah. And then things that Brand said about Tate, right? From Tate's perspective, from Brand's perspective, he can look across and see that to a degree if that's what the signal the guy's sending. He don't know him, he can be tricked by the signal, but Brand, he knows that there's such a fucking thing as the Matrix coming after you, because it's actually fucking come after him a few times. It's actually come at him. They hated the fact that he got himself such a good education so quickly. They hated it. There was a time when Russell Brand had actual access to talent, and he was finding people and asking them. He saw my videos. He watched mine. But others he reached out to and asked them, can you unpack that a bit? So he ended up talking to people like Danny Shine, and fucking Danny Shine's mental. Nice guy, but mental. He'd talk to Danny Shine, who's led him down the garden path. He finds himself asking questions of like basically the Alex Jones entourage on a lot of things. He's been right through the whole fucking lot as Russell. He is a great student of the world of conspiracy, I will say that. He's good. It's like, he's really knowledgeable. He's spent a lot of time, and he's the sort of person, when he makes his business to find out about things, he finds out about things. And has always had access to talent as to where he could pick up a phone and talk to a fucking Tucker Carlson or something like that and ask them, who do they know? Who the experts are? Can I speak to this guy? You notice how big conversation he had where he was still a fucking hippie. Peterson fucking rinsed him right out, changed his outlook, reinforced a lot of things that Russell he'd not put together. Helped him build a bridge. So now you get it where he's Christian, and it's like, but he's not. He's basically in the sinner's school. He's basically him praying to Jesus, right? It proves he's not ready, if you like. So he's still a sinner. He still sees himself as a sinner. So it's a matter of he sort of sits. He's someone who waits, right? And has got a sort of he's a Jesus guy. So Jesus guys have got this role model, and Jesus is far more fitting as to what Russell Brand is about than it's like Jesus had a quite different life before John the Baptist came along and told him basically how much God loved him, opened his eyes. It's like legit. Russell is one of these guys who's had the full journey. He's been to the pit of hell, managed to do a deal, and then met up again on the other side. Gets it? He's not of the same blood as me, so he doesn't have the same. Basically, doesn't. He operates under a different god. Sorry, he operates under. He has a different relationship with the boss than I do. But he's searching. He's actually seeking truth, and in seeking truth, doing God's work, God rewards that. It doesn't matter who you are. When you start speaking the truth, God rewards that. Guy's a dry junkie, a dry heroin addict. It's like, it takes a lot. It takes a lot to keep that mind occupied, I'll tell you. Will do. He's an actual, right? Brand could well be the man that TATE pretends to be more often than not. If there was a hierarchy in people who go around and shedding the notion of some sort of mystical understanding of the universe, Brand's superior to TATE. Is better at it. He's actually better. If we're talking about in terms of sorcery, right? Brand is actually better than TATE at it. Because he's someone who's had a dark past, but I don't see him as a dark arts sorcerer in this world. I think he is a genuine truth seeker. He's someone who's learned how to see both sides of something, and that's not easy to do. You have to learn how to properly marshal your emotions. And if you've had the background he's got and been a smackhead, marshalling your emotions in order to think two sides of something through, that's a massive breakthrough. It's like suddenly you've got far more capacity for using your brain to think and remember things, and to leave that emotionality out as to where I have mates who slip into sympathy real easy. I'm like, take it out. See, that's the thing with me, isn't it? As to where that time that somebody left a comment on my trying to hurt my feelings, left me. You just haven't got any sympathy for anyone, have you? And I'm like, you fucking worked it out, thank you. I just couldn't put my finger on it. It's like I'm so stingy with the sympathy that when people come along asking for it, I'm like, are you really worthy? So I'm skeptical of victims. And when people, you're victim blaming, I'm like, no, I'm victim skeptic. I've got every reason in the world to believe that girl, that Bree Stern, got manhandled and buggered very roughly by Andrew Tate. I have every reason to believe he did that. But every other element of her story points to her as to her being out looking for trouble and getting fucking paid. Actually walked into that knowing that there was an outcome like that in the offing. Could not have not known that that's what she was walking into. So that makes her a fucking deliberate player too. In fact, there's an angle of this, right? Say with the Tate thing, as to where you get those like me who understand the magical bullshit thing that he fucking likes to play. So I like to play it too because it's hilarious. And so in this great game, we've got ourselves a sort of almost a golem figure that's just popped up and suddenly is basically like right. I'll word it differently, right? Like Sauron, right? Sauron out of Lord of the Rings is not really a fucking god, you know. He's just someone who's learned all the god's tricks, having been a slave of Morgoth, who was like the worst father in the history of the world, but it's like Sauron learned most of his tricks. So he's like the great magician, the the unfortunate who learned all of a god's tricks and then tried to carve out a world of his own. But in essence, he'd be a victimised slave of Morgoth. He'd be someone who suffered absolutely fucking terribly, and then when Morgoth was fucking kicked out, when the elves went to God and said, look, this guy, right, who's one of your fucking angels, by the way, he's your creation, he's fucking this place up. He's absolutely fucking destroying what you built and what you wanted. We demand you, God, do something about it. So God sent someone bigger and tougher to go and beat him up. And then Morgoth done away with. He's like in basically at the darkest, deepest hole in the fucking universe, gone and never to return. And then suddenly Sauron has no one to fear. Sauron's off the fucking chain. Ha! So in this sort of play, you've got a Sauron figure, TATE, a skilled black magician, a weaver of spells and lies and chaos. Someone who can turn sunshine into darkness. A black magician. So in this great game, you've got this black magician, and then you've got like the forces of humanity. I don't count amongst them because I'm not a fighter. So I'm Gandalf. And it'd be Gandalf. John, is it? Yes, Gandalf. It's like Gandalf's power is to understand that we have the same creator, you know. And our creator sent me. Gandalf. So Gandalf can call upon all the forces of nature because he understands his relationship to it and his creator. So I'm Gandalf, and I'm like, come and find me if you want a real fucking challenge, mate. It's like, do you want to, do you want to learn something about how the world really works? It's like, come to Rochdale and we'll set up a sort of demonstration for you if you like. It would be quite a thing. You wouldn't get through Manchester Airport without getting arrested, but hey, you know, you can dream, can't you? Maybe you could dig a fucking tunnel. Maybe you could swim. Maybe you could swim the channel. Swim the channel. Drive from the Middle East, yeah, to the coast of France. Using disguises and all them false passports and the like you've got. And swim across the channel. You know what I mean? The top G would be able to swim the channel for sure. No sharks in the channel, apart from obviously Andrew Tate when he jumps in the channel. Fish would start dying around the cunt. So I'm Gandalf and I'm shedding light on this, and it's like I ain't no direct spell magician guy. No, I inspire bravery in others to fucking go up against him. But it's like I'm just one aspect of the, you know, the kind of the brotherhood of dealing with some of these fucking scumbags. And you know something? Ha! One of the most powerful allies you could have in the elimination of this fucking despicable pimp culture that's now built up is actually Brand. Brand as an enemy of Tate would be the end. Well, would be another front. It would be, well, Gandalf's turned up, and now that fucking crazy nature guy's turned up as well. What? Yeah, that other fucker. Or Tom Bombadil has just wandered in with his brilliant diction and imagination and comic timing and songs. Tom Bombadil has just walked in. It's like, yeah, fucking Sauron. It's like he's on our side. It's like he understanding what those who know the Tate story, who can tell the Tate story, who can actually lay down the real fucking stakes as to how dangerous he is to the imagination, and how his approach, people, mean kids take to it like a duck to fucking water. There's something very true about the technique that he teaches, which is why I've always found myself in terrible opposition to him. It's like, no, this is information that you should know for defence, not for attack. There's a straight up, there's a thing about, I could, if I wanted to, be TATE with what I know about psychology. Yes, the choice, any stage of the game. There's a conversation I once had with Richard Grannon, whereas we put together what we knew. We had we used to have a good relationship. We sort of, I don't got much against Grannon really, but I'm disappointed that we sort of drifted apart, if you like, as much as anything else, because he was making such progress, and it's like he'd have actually been smarter than he is now if he'd have continued to work with me. There's large elements of things that I've rediscovered that are very much part of his sort of central, fair play to it. In essence, kind of fair play to him. But me and him once had a conversation where we giggled like little girls in delight, saying, if we wanted to, we could be the most successful pimps in the history of the fucking world. And you'd be the front guy, the smart one, the one who does all the fucking charming. It's like, and I'll be the one who runs the blokes. And we sat and we giggled and we're like, yeah, absolutely. And he'd be like, and from where could we recruit a load of attractive young women, right, who've got certainly personality disorder traits that we could deliberately manipulate to put them to work for us? And it'd be his audience, his YouTube audience. You recruit yourself about 15 or 20 girls. You could. And we were just giggling this sort of, could we find the fucking most messed up of them and like maybe turn them into fucking assassins? Make all kinds of use of them, turn them into spies, turn some into honeypots, some into spies, some into agents, propaganda agents. We were sat and we were chuckling as to say, yeah, we know how to find them, we know what we're looking for, so we could deliberately target them. And we were just sat giggling, and that's like 13, 14 years ago. I'm not saying that Richard's gone on to be this terrible fucking pimp tyrant, but he could have been if he wanted to. I have, in some regards, respect for him that he hasn't become that guy. Because he could have done. He knows enough. He knows enough about pimp craft, whorecraft, that side of espionage. He knows enough about it to have become a massive player. He could have been Tate, but not being so fucking stupid as to run his mouth to everyone in the world about what he were up to. Easily, with his knowledge. But he hasn't done it. Could have done. Because the same information can be absolutely instrumental in actually protecting people and giving them a choice and freeing them from shit like that. It's a choice. You can take a good understanding of the dark side of human nature and the shit that people find themselves in, and you can be a light that guides the way out of hell. Or you can be someone who fucking masters it and rules in hell. You get a choice. Once you know enough to play the evil game, right? Once you've got all the tricks together, there was parts of that education I was missing, and then they suddenly were provided, and I'm like, oh no, this is not what I asked for. This is not what I wanted to know. This is not what I wanted to find out about. This is not what I wanted to be the thing that I always had to fucking carry into the future. I did not ask for this. Well, you got it. You wanted wisdom. I wanted to higher power to be able to make the world a better place. What did it end up with? Betrayal. What did that teach me? Betrayal's a hell of a weapon. In fact, betrayal is the number one weapon in the arsenal. Betrayal is the prelude to every kind of fucking serious battle, serious war. When people who've been utterly betrayed, I completely understand those who might hunt them down and fucking kill them. I understand the sentiment of it, and if you had power, maybe you would. I understand that. You see, I get it. It's like in this against Sauron TATE, it's like the High Wizards arrived and been on the fucking job since the very start. He's had people around him who've been attempting to actually protect him from that kind of attack. He used to have a shaman as his sidekick. He had his own mystical shamanic council in his circle to protect and ward him off, to ward off others who might come along and say, oh, you're into that, are you? Oh, you're into that. I know they get to about people who are into that. So suddenly, weakest piece in the organisation, fucking gone, cut off. He's now the most fucking boring person in the world trying to sell advice on how to get rich. And the comments when he's doing a live stream are like, aren't you that guy who pimped out his own wife? And that be a truth that he cannot escape from, as to, it's going to be difficult for you to reinvent yourself, buddy. You're going to have to wait 20 years for half of these people to fucking die off or get engaged in something else. You're done. You're history. You're out. As I instructed in the video I made about him, Iggy must go. That name be something that we don't speak of anymore, because he now goes by his real name. The ultimatum I actually offered the guy. But I'm saying, you know, that's what I laid down. Iggy must go. Iggy went. That name no longer exists. I'm not saying it was me. I'm saying I got what I wanted. It's like these crazies on that side of it are wide open to the same shit that they fucking peddle. It's like there is a point to this where I'm talking about the wizardry. There are certain sects, right, that you would have expected to turn up for the party when Mr. Tate meets his end, that hadn't fucking turned up yet. As to you know, to a certain group of women, he would represent in their psyche the most terrifying evil that they would never ever wish to face, and that be, you're on your own, and now I'm going to beat your fucking face in. I was nice to you, but now I'm going to lock you in a fucking room and beat you. And that's every woman in this world's worst nightmare. Andrew Tate is, on a primal level, every woman in this world's worst fucking nightmare. He is. But then there are so many women in the world that have lived that and seen that and be like, well, it didn't kill me, did it? that it be these nailed on fucking hardcore feminists, not the ones who engage in tittle tattle, the ones who fucking bring to the table this ladily game of witchcraft. Basically, the witches hadn't arrived. When I would expect that this guy would be fighting off fucking constant attack from witches, women able to play the same fucking game, as to why haven't the witches struck yet? Why haven't the witches come and use the wearing way on the man? And it'd be a matter of, well, it seems they have now. And they've sent a fucking dumbass as well. They've sent a mess. They've sent you a fucking mess. They've primed. She's a nightmare. Send her. I understand the game as well as most of them do. And it'd be a matter of, you look at that Brie Stern, it's a matter of, here I am, rock you like a hurricane. Send that crazy bitch at him. Set her up for it. Send her. She could fuck up anything. She could destroy anything. She can turn any situation into a fucking nightmare. She's a nightmare. Send her. Games that are played by the big witch bosses are like, she can sing but she's insane and but looks the part, but she's fucking crazy. She should be in a mental ward, and you know, if we get her at the right point where the drugs have kicked in, she might be able to fucking behave in front of the cameras for long enough to put a show on. Let's make her world famous. She's an absolute fucking crackpot who's as shallow as a fucking puddle. Let's make her famous. People, she'll give them nothing and people will see everything. Says Taylor Swift, wearing a fucking leotard at the age of about 35 with a fucking screaming audience of politicians. They know how to do this. They know how to... You know, there's a thing with Bran that nobody talks about, right? He was married to Katy Perry, right? Fucking Katy Perry. I know Katy Perry has just been, like... I'm not a music... That's that kind of music to me that's just produced, you know. It doesn't register. So I think I see her as a kind of like a kind of pop princess type person. And it's like... It was almost like the way that happened, it was almost like he was issued with that person. That he would come to learn that she, in her mind, was little more than a little girl. And in one way, adorable, but in one way, absolutely fucking stupid and incredibly fickle. And how long did that marriage last for? A year or two? And bearing in mind that there are people in the entertainment industry who very rarely will be spending hours in rooms together. Didn't take so long for that to fall to fucking pieces, and it'd be a matter of, did Russell Brand learn any lessons from this disastrous marriage? Where he's probably convinced himself that somebody's someone they weren't, but thought, hey, I like the idea of this. We're a big star glamour couple. We're going to be like, you know, a big couple, we're a big star couple, and it'd be a matter of, no, she's a fucking lunatic. Brand, an incredibly experienced man. Incredibly experienced. Brand. What, how old, and 52, what, 50, 51, he's the same age as me, Russell Brand, more or less. 50. It's like, don't you think he's not learned every fucking lesson that is to be learned from the risks of, like, crazy pussy? It's like, part of Andrew Tate's miseducation is that he's never actually been defeated by crazy pussy, when there are loads of us that have. Defeated by crazy pussy. He hasn't been defeated by crazy pussy, has he? He's conquered it. He's stomped it. And it's like they just need a stronger kind of crazy, don't they? Stronger kind of crazy. Let's feed him what he eats. Let's feed him what he eats. Bray Stern, feed him what he eats. He looks at her and he thinks, dumb fucking bitch. We know her. We know that she's a fucking toxic waste dump. A malignant piece of shit. Let's feed that into his system. Because I tell you something, at this moment in time, the way that guy's world's organised, she's in a lot of trouble with him for betrayal. Because of the size of his ego, planet-sized ego. He's in a lot of trouble for betrayal. This thing I was alluding to a few weeks ago as to where he had a kind of asteroid came. I sense the crackpot wind. And it's like the absence of the appropriate powers against him. The absence of them has been something that's raised eyebrows to me, as to say, why haven't the women took him out? Why hasn't the cordon of fucking witches on the internet sent an assassin to destroy him? And when they pick out an assassin, she's got like big fucking rubber lips and like big massive fake tits. Boom. Because TATE sees those things and thinks, oh, she's insecure, she's as good as mine, I just give her a bit of confidence. He thinks, oh, bait, oh, I eat that, that's my thing. Snatches for it. Gets him. He's had his dick in that idiot. I think they've done their part now. I think they've struck. I think they've left a fucking other axe in the guy's back. I think the Witches Union actually turned up and joined in the fight against Sauron. I think it's another one. I think it's down. I think he feels down about that. It wouldn't take him so long to recover. I think he suffers narcissistic injury a lot because he's able to escape from the internet, isn't he? I think he suffers terribly badly with lows, narcissistic downers, actually, and as well as that, cunts, proper low cunts like me, mouthing off big against him. That probably winds him up as well, because it's like, words are words, aren't they? The guy's a purveyor of words. He's not got much action about him. He's a purveyor of words. So it's like, do you not think words are not just the ultimate weapon to go after Andrew Tate with? So I think they are. I want him to be a lesson for everybody as to, if you can be fooled by this, you can be fooled by fucking anyone or anything. If you can be fooled like this, but you look at the age of the people he's been able to fool who know no fucking better, and you look at what's been provided, this where they've all got a point. Even I've got a point. So look at the education you've been provided about how you get on with other people. And what it's actually socially acceptable for somebody else to do to you. Well, I'm all about that. I get it. There were a fucking huge crowd of guys on the internet who were in their way worked out that they'd filled that fucking void. I was right at the front of it when I used to be pals with the old Manosphere, the original Manosphere. I was a member of it. And with that, it's like, no, we've, and I put it to them, it's like, look who your audience are. It's like, you've taken the role in these guys' lives as their fathers. And none of your fathers yourselves. You're you're the daddy. The pioneers of the sort of community, if you want to call it that, or the circle of knowledge. Shit, you're talking about original ringleader and pimp Roosh V, but a completely different fucking figure to an Andrew Tate. But Andrew Tate's someone who has his knowledge weaponized for wide scale publication, whereas Roosh always cultivated an audience of men who were going to find themselves in the company of dangerous women by trying to use game theory on creatures that game theory actually works really well on. It's like, don't fucking even consider using game theory on someone in order to entrap them before you go away and learn about what game theory is and how the world was. People have been, human beings have been deliberately engineered for a few years to become people that game theory works upon as a tactic, method, and an understanding of the way that they think. And they've had to modify, they can modify people so they obey the rules of game. And what are those people like? They tend to be people who were traumatized very badly as children. And your fucking methodology to attract women filters them out and makes it so they're the only ones who are coming looking for you. You're using game theory to attempt to attract high quality women when you're only going to attract crazy ones, and then bad things are going to happen to you because you've got no fucking, you in your mind do not understand that fucking person does not exist, and your motives in the first instance for learning some game, right, based on you having a real fucking problem with your insecurities, and adding a layer of lies to them is just going to get you the beating you'll deserve. I'm of that camp who was always questioning as to these tactics you're teaching these kids. What do they bring? And it'd be nothing but fucking strife. You hear stories and tale around the old community of it as to whether there's a guy who used to be a follower. He's out of prison now, but he was a follower of Areni's, and he used to watch my stuff as well. We were like Facebook friends about it. Somebody was watching our video, and he got proper sent to jail for firing a weapon at a woman. He got himself in super trouble with a really dangerous bitch who, in dumping him, turned up with another guy. Just turned up with another guy, right? You're my new boyfriend. I'm going to go and dump this guy, and he won't do anything because you're here and you're fighting. So he was an American man who was armed. And he found himself with a gun in his hand shooting at fucking car as they were driving away. Could understand someone being as angry as that, and they threw the book at him like attempted murder. Managed to appeal and actually got out. He apparently did rather well, fought his own appeal. I haven't spoken to him personally since he got out. I exchanged words with him when he got out. So I say, you alright? It's like, you're not going to become a fucking merchant of fucking doom, are you? You're not going to be, you're not going to reinvent yourself as some fucking victim martyr. And he's like, no. He's like, I learned my lesson and I fought my own case to get myself out of jail. I'm like, fair enough, you'll do. You learned the fucking right lesson, didn't you? So you put yourself in harm's way believing that you are a master of the situation because you're out trying to find women. And another obvious one is you go to pubs and nightclubs looking at women for women. What kind of women are you going to find? Drunken ones. It's like, have that drinking habit be a happy surprise, not be the thing that the hook That'll be the bait that's on the end of the hook. See, they were wrong. They were. I used to be reasonable to exchange a message of Rouge fee, but my friends were all friends of his. I'm like, this ain't healthy what he's teaching these guys, because no one's him. These tactics and techniques might make it so that he gets to turn out a lot of party girls all over fucking Europe, because that's what they are. The prostitutes giving him a free one because they quite know what they do. Charming guy. Likes sex. So he's a charming guy, not unattractive by any stretch of the imagination. Got a real charm about him. Different looking, and if his proposition is, would you like some sex? You know, women of a mind might just say yes. And if you keep asking enough, and keep asking enough of them, one will. But it's like, she's the one who failed the character test, not the one who passed it. So this manosphere, as it was being constructed, it was constantly being disassembled, lost its way. Loads of people who associated with it fell by the wayside. A lot of them got dragged into superstitious nonsense. You get dicks who came along like Michael Black, muddying the water. You got all kinds of people coming along, and they were talking mystical, magical fucking bullshit who destroyed what was the old manosphere. There were too many witches and wizard cult type people infiltrating it. And it's like, people are this men talking to move thing. This men talking thing. There's so many people with a vested interest in destroying this, it's unbelievable. Just mean-spirited women. You can't have these blokes talking. They'll mess it up for all of us. They'll mess it up for all of us. We'll not be able to, none of us pull off any of our grifts that we fucking live by. And the bad girls will come after you on the internet for questioning their legal position, if you like. As to where when something I get the sack for, they'll get a slap on the wrist. And even if they throw the tears on, the bosses might feel sorry for them and give them less work to do. Take the stress off them. Well, they just sack me. They don't want that to be fucked with. Women have got power. They can just play games. They can play any kind of game they like. It's like the world's legally obliged to give them what they want through employment laws and everything. Family law. There are those who know it. And there are those who know they can just do what they fucking read, what they personally want to do forever. And no one will be able to stop them. And if you question that as being the status quo, they come after you. Them very women who benefit the most from it come at you. And the shape and form of them at the time was people cracking on that they were witches and wizards and fucking sorcerers. People who wanted to drag people into fucking Norse cults and shit like that came along. Traditionalism, trad, as I call it, trad casting. That's that. But that's to try and work it on a different level. That's to work it in as a fucking hippie thing, practically. That's to subvert. That's to take people off one rail and put them on a fucking another lefty rail, another lefty lane, which is the magic circle as to where one puts one above the normal people and then pours fucking scorn on them for their wicked ways. It's to claim a pious situation, and at the same time just be having learned how to talk like that as being a way to power. The way to power in this world is to certainly if you want to be the leader of something, is to guarantee security and promise to uphold the law. Basically, human beings are quite hardy as beasts of burden, and really, when it all comes down to it, I don't care who you are. All you would actually ask of the world is to be treated fairly. But trying to enforce that is absolutely fucking impossible because of various interests and power dynamics. But isn't it a cool thing to say? Doesn't it sound good? You'd have to take it on a case-by-case basis to make the world a fairer place. And take account of a fucking million lies. Impossible. But what a cool thing to say. What an incredible aspiration as to have us to say. I'd like to see people treated fairly because really, that's all they demand. But then it's like, what's your version of fair? I think just about everyone's got their own version of fair, haven't they? So in that wonder, in that wonderment, you can say the true use of that is to be a judge and be someone who stands out and says, hey, I stand here. Is to acknowledge that everyone judges and be as good and fair a judge as you can be. There's that way of looking at it. And then there's the other. It's like you've got it where crackpots would want to create an army of fucking wizards when fundamentally you only need 2 or 3, maybe 4, 5. Magic number, you'd have 12, wouldn't you? You only need 12. You only need 12 heavy hitters. You don't create an army of fucking pimps. It's like that. There's a thing, with every criminal gang as to where someone goes to prison and gets smart and then starts his own little crew. I've learned the pimp game off people in prison. Oh, so what are we getting in the business of? Cocaine and prostitutes. Okay, where are we going to get the girls from? Oh, local council estate. We'll just recruit some. Okay. Fuck. It's like you don't that right. You have to be in some regards. It's like you went to prison and became a made guy, and somebody gave you the secrets of all these street games, and then and that was how it stayed limited. As to you got to be in the world a while before we give you all the fucking hidden ins and outs of the knowledge of how the game works. You have to pay to learn this game. You get some like TATE come along and just broadcast it to the world. Just broadcast it. This is how the game works. This is how to be a criminal. This is how to stay one step ahead and get your fucking subordinates busted and not you. As to where he could be, his impact on the world of criminals and grifters. He's been as effectual as a fucking prophet or something like that. He has. He's been as big in that part of the world. He's been a second coming, if you like. Someone who, to a lot of people of low character, validated, gave them his validation for treating people as fucking slaves and using them and ripping them off and using them up. Given that, validated every scumbag in the world. Validated them and then taught them how to talk in order to be able to mask their criminality in a traditional cloak. Let's be right wing, guys. When the world of feminism created a world absolutely perfect for them guys to predate upon. Fundamentally, there'd be people who'd be cheering from the highest mountain how brilliant for them radical feminism's been, getting the man out of the home and all that sort of shit. It's been the greatest recruitment tool that pimps could ever ask for, which is for how long people like that in their activity would be pushing for abortion and basically rules to snuff out domestic violence, make it easy for women to get the men out of the house. If you want to feed a drug business and a whoring business, that's the kind of activity that you would expect to be them involved in. But it isn't, is it? But they benefit 100% completely from it. That's their true position. Their true position is that the absolutely abysmal education system just creates more recruits for us. That's their approach as well. It's like it's like it's a big old game, and it's a matter of, it's like you bring in an outsider like that, because people have done it, gadget up to it. He's a guy who's on the TATE thing, but he's a lefty. He's trying to basically earn points. He's trying to earn lefty virtue points, and it's a matter of, nah, mate, you're not as good at this as some of the others who came before you, who've moved back from the front, or who don't produce videos. And it's like you're leftists going after TATE with attempting to shock and outrage. It's like us men who gravitate more towards the true conservative. We want to see the fucker done for with fact and action, and don't give a fuck for this misogyny. Don't give a fuck for this. We want the guy down because he's a pimp. We want the guy down because he's a kind of a Pied Piper, a sorcerer type figure, who's got into the imaginations of a lot of young people, and whose rationales validate them taking part in absolutely savage fucking behaviour, which is where this what the have you seen Adolescence yet? It's like, are you trying to teach me about ideation? I'm sorry, I'm a working class 50-year-old man, and ideation be something that I lived with. You don't need to tell me about ideation. I was lucky enough in life that I didn't fall into the hands of people like him, and was lucky enough to grow up to be a teenager who was able to be led astray, as to where I was led astray locally, and not given a load of excuses by some guy online who's absolutely sick and twisted to the fucking bone, a sadistic prick, and you take his advice as to how you best live your life. I made money from whores, made money from Bitcoin. His activity was, he was a pimp, but his stroke of genius was his money laundering exercises in Bitcoin made him very rich. Andrew Tate tried to launch his showbiz career in Britain by being on a television programme called Big Brother. Proved himself to be, for about a week and longer, the most despised person in this country. People were like, are you watching this fucking guy? Tell you, for women, he's an absolute nightmare. He's the worst thing that could possibly fucking happen to you. He is. He is the embodiment of the fucking monster in the dark who you absolutely fear, that you've got a primal fear of. That's him. He's on the internet broadcasting shit at you. That's who the guy is. I'm just surprised it took so long for them to turn up, but now they've fucking, it's kind of arrived. How's it going to end this tale? It could go on for years, this, because it's a matter of the man's support needs to collapse, but for his support to collapse, he's got fucking bitches all over social media who think they benefit from the association. It has to become so toxic to be associated with the guy that you're bringing down your old videos of him you made. That's as near to an apology for backing Tate and launching his career as we'll ever get from any of these people who've boosted the guy. Nearest we'll ever get to an apology is that they'll take the fucking video down when he's eventually either killed or ends up in prison for the rest of his life. It's impossible to be able to kind of whitewash the guy and remove him from the internet. It's just impossible. He's indelibly made a mark for himself in the world of the underworld. Now you see, the underworld does contain the insane occult spiritual elements. That's where they exist. Criminals, people who have to think their way out of moral quandary, they exist in that world. That's where that's where they live. It's like there's two different planet Earths. There's the one where people actually do things out in the open, and there's the other one where people are fucking racked by the brains as to how am I going to explain this? How am I going to rewrite this narrative of my life to make out I'm either a hero or a victim? And never a non-player, never a non-entity, never a coward. Ha! It's like that is hell. It's like it exists on planet Earth. You're second guessing yourself because you amount to nothing more than your fucking story. So when someone comes along and asks you the question, who are you, for you to be able to well answer that question. I'm this, I'm that, I'm the guy who did this, I'm the guy who did that. And that be the summation of. So some fucking just terrible, because say weak-minded people. And here I'm not talking about my audience here. I'm thinking more of kids of fucking 17 and 18 who are. I've known adults, kids who just never grow up ever. I've known people be 80 and still pricks, childish. Some people just never grow up, and part of stunting their growth is to enable their bad fucking behaviour and turn it into a tactic and turn it into a way of living. And then by the time the prison system finds them, they don't know how to fucking live. Fucking make-believe, lying to oneself. Everyone knows thieving's wrong, even the ones who can just straight up do it. Feels different to them. They get exhilarated by the thrill of it, don't they? It's like there's dirty fuckers in the world who are well beyond the world of titillation as to sex. I'm indifferent about it. It's fun, you know. It's can be enjoyable, can be a laugh, can be like whoa, yeah, good times. Can be like whoa, but can also be just about anything else. It's like don't have sexual encounters with strangers. It very rarely fucking comes out well at all. And it's like this is what this part of the world has to say, man or sphere. That's where they found an audience, is because it seemed like that's what lots of men wanted to do. And I were voicing it for a good while, and I'm like, look, I've been this idiot myself. Found myself this idiot. Don't be that idiot. Don't spend your life chasing women. Don't try to master tactics. Don't try to break codes. It's like you are making yourself real and attractive. And as well as that, these women out in the world, they are not who you think. Many of them are. They'll see you coming and think, oh, is it worth me playing along with this guy's little power trip in order to get what I want? We're seeing it 1,000 times. You see, this is something that men, right, who aren't very experienced with women, experience with women, John. You've not exactly had set the world on fire by way of sexual conquest, and it's like fucking work with them for 20 years. Know plenty of them, and it's like, do you guys even know who these women are? And they'd be like, in most cases, you wouldn't want to go anywhere fucking near them once you get to know women. You can work with women, fine. I'm fine working with women. But it'd be a matter of, once you get to know them, don't go, oh, she's nice. Don't fall for it. Don't kid yourself into anything like that. It's impossible not to. People do. They're like, oh, she's nice. And then it's a matter of, go find out if she can fucking talk. You've been thinking this world is that women have learned how to be evasive. Women have learned that they've learned to. Oh, here's another one. Attractive women have had young men throwing themselves at them since they're fucking 12, 13. That's a piece of our society, or a part of social grooming that makes them, when that's been attempted badly, where, you know, ridiculous, childish gestures of love are cringe. Or someone 10 years older comes along and does it, and you're like, oh, swept off my feet. Because, you know, the 12-year-old guy, the 12-year-old kid who thought shouting I love you through the letterbox was romantic. It's like, if you can't be friends with women and you can't get along with them, don't think for a minute magically you can somehow be their life partner. Really, don't think that, because you let yourself down. That people are not who you think they are. People are who they are, and they're all individually a little bit different. And thinking that they are not is the path to just finding yourself with, in the end, thinking you've won the game, but actually finding yourself with absolute trouble, and understand that this prize that you've picked up is the last turkey in the shop, and she was the last turkey in the shop last time, and the time before, and the time before, and the time before, as to where the incel in the world has an opposite number in the female world who's fucked everyone. She's the anti-incel. She's the one with all the scalps on her belt. Let's be real about this. As to the pressures that young men face to be men, in essence, lose their virginity as soon as possible, and it'd be a matter of get that idea in the kids' heads as to you basically pornography the world young enough. You'll never not look at the world anything other in any other way. You should, switching that on early in kids is the biggest disaster for the mind. And it makes them in the future susceptible to, oh, sexualized mind, have you? Okay, let me tell you a spiel as to where, oh, we've already got a program for this. Oh, you've come along, have you, with a highly sexualized mind, and you've got like deep desires to put your dick in idiots. Well, we can help you. You're an idiot. Okay, so what we need is an idiot for you. Let's teach you how to find idiots. And you can have an idiotic life with an idiotic woman and have idiotic kids. If you look at it, they say the situation as to the well tapped by the TATEs, and it's like, they're doing the best ever job of recruitment for the fucking communists. At the end of the day, than anyone could have dreamed possible. They are encouraging young men to absolutely shred their lives. Just shred it. Utterly destroy it. And embrace cruelty, manipulation, and call that a road to happiness and wealth. And it'd be like, who preaches like that? And it'd be Sauron.